Welcome to Geometry Virtual Learning. In today's lesson, we'll be talking about Sine Rule. And I welcome all new viewers and old viewers. We'll be talking about how to derive the Sine Rule and how to use the Sine Rule specifically to work out missing sides of triangles and also take you through exam style questions. Sine rule can be used for any triangle. It doesn't necessarily have to be for right angle triangle. So remember the previous lesson about SOHCAHTOA, it has to be a right angle triangle. The sine rule is for all triangles. Let's look at the naming of triangle because it will help us with the derivation of the formula. Angle A is named with big letter and the opposite side is small letter a. Same is angle B, big letter, small side, B facing the angle. So it's C. Now, you can see that the angles are named as capital letters and side opposite each angle is named with the same letter but a small letter. Now to derive the formula, let's focus on right angle triangle AOC, where CO is the height. H here is height, it's not hypotenuse. CO is the height. In AOC, let's work out sine A, which is the opposite over the hypotenuse, h over b. We want to make h the subject by multiplying through by b. So at the end, b will multiply sine A. H is b times sine A. So let's call it first equation. Then let's focus on right angle triangle COB. And let's work out what will be sine B. Sine B, opposite, which is the height, over the hypotenuse, which is A. Make h the subject by multiplying through by A. If you multiply through by A cancels out this A, and A multiplies sine B. Equation 1 and 2 both have h. H is common, so equating equation 1 and 2, we can equate this section to this section. And regrouping A's and B's, we divide through by sine A to cancel the sine A. We divide through by sine B to cancel the sine B. So we end up having A over sine A equals B over sine B. And in general form, this is the relationship for sine rule to work out missing sides. So this is the derivation of the formula. But how do we use it to work out missing sides? And when do we know when to use it? Sine rule, when is it used? When two angles and a side are given, you can find the missing sides using sine rule. So when you have two angles and a side is given, you can work out the missing side using sine rule. And you only need two of these ratios. You don't need A, B, C. You just need two to help you do the working out. And in order not to get confused, it's important that despite the labeling of the triangle, relabel the corners and the sides. So we do that by labeling the missing side, the side that we are looking for, a small a, and the opposite corresponding angle, big A. Then we name the other known side, small b, and the opposite corresponding angle B. I will take you through example for you to understand what I mean by this section. So this is just a simple advice to help you not to get confused with the letters in the formula. So looking at this question, you're supposed to work out angle Y, give our answer as 1 decimal place. And you realize that the labeling doesn't conform to our formula. So we need to relabel them. And the rule is label the missing side Y, A, and the opposite angle, capital A. The other known side that we know, 12, is a small b, and this is a big B. And once you've done that, all we need is the first two ratio. We quote it, and we substitute all the particulars into this. In place of A is Y, in place of A is sine 60, in place of B is 12, in place of sine B is sine 50. That's it. Then you make y the subject by multiplying through by sine 60. Sine 60 on this side, when you multiply, will cross this out, and sine 60 will multiply 12. Then here, you take the calculator. It's very important you know how to use the calculator properly. Use the fraction button first. You key in the fraction button. Then you key in 12 times sine 60 at the numerator, close the bracket. Use the cursor, push it to the bottom, key in sine 50 at the bottom, close the bracket, hit the equal sign. And if you've done it correctly, you see that on the screen of your calculator should look exactly the same as what you see here. If you use the fraction button, it will look the same as what you see, what we have here. And so the answer is 13.6 centimeters. So that's the answer for Y. Another example. Before we start, you realize that in sine rule, we move in pairs. We have two pairs of formation, a missing side and an angle, a known side and an angle. So you could see that we have a missing side, but we don't have an angle. We have a known side, we have an angle. But we can work out this missing angle because angles in triangles make 180. So before we label, let's work it out, and it's 75. When you add 35 and 70, 105, 180 minus 105, 75. So we have a missing side, angle, side, angle. Label A, big A, B, big B. So this question is actually named ABC to confuse you. So don't start with this ABC in this. You have to relabel it. Small a, big A. Small b, big B. Now you code the formula and we substitute. As usual, we multiply this side by sine 75, this side by sine 75, and we cross out this sine 75 on the left-hand side. So we have y equals this. Use the calculator correctly. You key in, and your answer should give you 15.2 centimeters. Now let's go through an exam-style question. So this is just basic example. In an exam, how could question be asked like this? Pause it, read the question to understand the context. Raphael stands at a point M and measures the angle of elevation to the top of a fenced tower at 25 degrees. He then walked 40 meters towards the base of the tower to point N. The angle of elevation from point N to the top of the tower is 42 degrees. Calculate the height of the tower. Give answer correctly to the decimal place. So let's try to understand information. Point M, looking at the top of the tower, angle is 25 degrees. He moves closer to the tower 40 meters. Another angle at the top to the top of the tower is 42 degrees. Now, how high is the tower? That's what we're looking for. Now, we know that if we're able to work out what is ON, we can use the answer of OM and 42 and use basic trigonometry to work out H. So this question is a combination of a sine rule and basic trigonometry. So we're going to first focus on ONM and see what we can do there. In using sine rule, we need two pairs of formation. We need an angle, which we have, and a side that we're going to find, and another side that we know, and an angle, but the angle is missing. So we need to find out the angle. But we know that we can work out A, and once we know A, we can work out B. 42 and A are on a straight line. They add up to 180. So A will be 138. 138 and 25 together from 180 should give us B, or 25 from 42 should give us B. B is also 17 degrees. Now we have a side and an angle, a side and an angle, so we can use sine rule. Let's push this aside, separate it so we can see it clearly. Side, angle, side, angle. So y over sine 25 equals to 40 over sine 17. Multiply through by sine 25. we have this, and the calculator works it out at 57.82 meters. So we're going to put 57.82 meters in place of y. So that's one part done. We are now going to go into triangle OPN. Let's separate that. And you see this is a right angle. So we can use our basic trigonometry. If you haven't watched my videos on basic SOHCAHTOA, I recommend that you do so. So here we start by labeling the side with reference to angle 42. This side height is the opposite, and this side is the hypotenuse, h. Don't confuse this hypotenuse with this h. The h here is the height, and the h here is the hypotenuse. And recall your triangular formula. We need sine triangle formula. And looking for O, which represents the height, we cover O, and that means that our height is equal to height times hypotenuse times sine 42. And replace that, and that will give us 38.69 meters. If you don't understand what I'm using in this section, I recommend go back to watch Trigonometry SOHCAHTOA. We have lesson 1 and 2. It teaches you how to use this formula to work out missing side. So that brings us to the end of lesson 1. Look out to watch out for lesson 2. I'll be talking about the same sine rule again, but this time focusing on angles. So sine rule for angles is our lesson 2. Thank you for watching. Share with your friends.